More than 20,000 students in our area go to Catholic school. Most of their families make a financial sacrifice to do that.
But the way one local church allows parents to pay for school could be violating tax law and rules laid out by the Catholic Church itself. John Bohls joins us with his latest Wave 3 News investigative exclusive.
Donations to your church are tax deductible. Tuition payments to a church school are not. The Archdiocese of Louisville says they have rules in place to keep them separate. But some hidden camera video one parent brought to me shows a school where those lines appear to be getting blurred.
But it is a very nice benefit for each one of us.
Red flags went up for accounting analyst Donna Molyneux when she started attending informational meetings on St. Joseph Catholic School in Bardstown. So she recorded the pitches to parents last year and the year before, including this one made by another parent.
One of the reasons they've asked me to talk from an accountant standpoint is there is very few ways that you can still rip the IRS off.
It's a pretty good scam, I guess, which they obviously know it's a scam because they got up there and said we're ripping off the IRS and laughed about it.
And I know that sounds funny. No one here's an IRS agent, right?
At this Catholic school, non-parishioners pay these rates per child in what's called tuition. Parishioners are quoted these rates per child for what's called stewardship. Same school, same education, roughly the same rates, but one big difference.
We are a stewardship model. You know that you receive a tax advantage at the end of the year.
The school charges tuition for non-parishioners, but for parishioners, they call it stewardship, which at the end of the year, 100% of what they pay in tuition, they get a letter from the church that they donated as a charitable contribution.
First grade class.
And much of the emphasis at these meetings is the savings parents can realize under the stewardship model because it's tax deductible.
When you look at that, you can really see the true effect of the savings that stewardship brings to it.
Parents are shown charts of the tax savings under the stewardship plan, which can total thousands of dollars depending on their income and number of children.
And it never hurts to be reinforced, about what the real reason is we're participating in stewardship.
It's wrong. I just don't believe in cheating the IRS, defrauding the government.
Is it your position that these payments are a charitable contribution?
It's a free will offering, yes, because we don't tell them what to give. They tell us what they're going to give.
Father Bill Hammer says it's all legal and approved by the Archdiocese. He was at both stewardship meetings and did not refute anything the parents said.
A number of parishes had to move away from the stewardship model, and almost always it comes down to people not following through their commitments, and then a shortfall happens.
When you have somebody stand up and say there are very few ways you can still rip the IRS off,
I don't agree with that statement.
Why wouldn't you get up, though, and say, hey, we're a church, I don't agree with that?
Well, I can't answer that question at this point. I don't know how to answer that question.
The IRS code says you can't deduct tuition or the amounts you pay instead of tuition. And the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops weighed in on the subject of school tuition versus donation and ruled a payment is not a charitable contribution if there is a plan allowing taxpayers either to pay tuition or make contributions in exchange for schooling. That's what you're saying you do.
No, it's not. No, that's incorrect the way you described that.
Also not a donation if contributions appeals are made as part of the admissions process.
It's not part of the admissions process. When I preach about it, it's on a Sunday to the entire congregation.
Not a donation if the contribution policy is created as a means of avoiding characterization of payments as tuition.
That's not what we're characterizing ourselves. We're telling everybody it's a free will offering.
And not a charitable contribution if substantial or unusual pressure is applied to parents. Donna says that's exactly what happened at these meetings. Parents were told they needed to attend.
They pressure the parents, to tell them you need to pay this.
In this letter to parents, the school board is very concerned about the dedication our families show to their stewardship/tuition pledges. The budget is running a deficit that is very concerning. But you don't think that sounds like pressuring people to give at least your suggested level of stewardship?
I personally don't, because I think it's giving them information to make their decision from.
This year, the school board has recommended that we will need to increase your stewardship payment by 2.5%.
We need to do a 2.5% increase this year for both stewardship and tuition. That doesn't seem like a just do the best you can, the way it was passed off.
Well, the information we shared is the way we formulate our budget. You have to have a budget if you got a school. People choose to follow those suggestions or not. There's no sanction to it. It's not a case where if they don't, then their child's not in our school. It's free will offering.
We tried to talk to the IRS about the situation. They wouldn't comment, even in hypothetical terms. A spokeswoman for the Archdiocese sat in on the interview and later sent a letter to us saying, quote, "There are parishioners with children in the school who give nothing. No one is penalized or tracked or called out for what they do not give. The theology of stewardship is never intended to be a scheme to avoid taxes. The Church teaches, as Christ did, that we should always pay our fair share of taxes." John Bohl, Wave 3 News.
Thanks, John. That spokeswoman also told us a total of 5 schools in the Archdiocese follow that stewardship model, meaning non-parishioners pay tuition while parishioners make free will donations. The Archdiocese says that's perfectly acceptable under IRS guidelines.